Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Beauty on a Budget. My name is Heather. Today is Saturday, August 30th of 2025. So I recently was working on my pantry that led me to do my kitchen, and then I really wanted to get to my closet here. And now I've got my closet kind of tore apart, but I need some space to organize. So that has led me to start doing this other part of the basement. Even though I'm working on like so many different little projects throughout the house, it's just one of those things. You need room somewhere, you got to start clearing it out. So I'm going to just kind of see my basement. This is the stuff I've got to work on and go through. So you can see, I mean, there's nothing under the table, but I've got books piled up on top of the table. But it's just all this extra stuff that's just sitting here, just loose. And then I have all these bags of bedding. And I love these bags that I had bought before we moved, and they are those vacuum seal bags. I love them, but because we moved and they've been moved around, they've kind of got a few holes, or they've, like this one here is like split open. So I'm gonna have to run to the dollar store and get some more of those bags. And I'm just gonna put all my bedding in those bags, and it's gonna save so much storage. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then I'm not quite sure where I'm gonna store. I've got some shelves my husband built in the furnace room, so I might stick them on the shelves above the laundry room sink. So those I'm just gonna move to the side, but I'm just gonna start going through all this stuff here. I'm not going through boxes. This is just a box of just so much random stuff in it. You can see it's got toys and home decor. So I'm not dealing with boxes. I just want to deal with the stuff that's on the floor. So what I'm doing right now is I've got my little tin can holders I used in my cupboards and pantries. I'm gonna just take them apart for now. Just easy storage. They they kind of collapse down to like a few little trays and some little legs. They don't take up any room this way. So my mannequins, I'm not sure where I'm gonna put them. And then the mannequin heads, I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put them. I'm probably going to sell them, to be honest. And same with some of my hair extensions. I'm going to go through and kind of get rid of whatever I know I'm no longer going to be wearing. And then some of my big glass vases and some of my other big glass dishes here, I'm just going to move into the furnace room for now. Same with the vases and lamps. That's what I meant. The lamps. So I'm just going to move those out of the way. And then as I find my pictures, I'm actually taking my pictures upstairs, and I'm going to start to get them hung up in the next week or two. We've been here almost a year, and like I said, in almost a year I have no pictures hung up. So I really want to get all my pictures taken upstairs and get them hung up. I've got a lot of decor that I'd love to go through and figure out if it's going to work in this house or not. I think we are like 99% done renovations. So I just want to get my house looking like my house, and just want to get all this stuff here all cleared and dealt with. So I'll be back as soon as I get this whole space right in front of me here kind of moved out of the way. Like I said, I'm not going through bins, but the baskets and trays I'm going to move into one pile. All the glass stuff I'm going to put in the furnace room. And then the bedding, I think I might just end up sticking the bedding in the laundry room on top of the washer and dryer just for today. Just so I can kind of clear this area out, and then I can see what I really have to work with down here. And I know there's a couple bookshelves that I will be taking upstairs. And same with these rolling carts. They're going to end up probably going upstairs. So I'll be back when this area in front of me is cleared out. Yeah, so I've been busy down here working hard. I've got all the way to this wall here. So I got this shelf here. I'm going to get that taken upstairs. I was just throwing a lot of the bags of bedding in the bathtub for now, but I'm going to bring all the bedding and bring it back into this corner. I've got 3 containers here full of glass canisters and collector cups and things that I got to go through. And then I've got some more kitchen stuff that's got to go in the pantry. And then this was all that extra overflow first aid stuff that I'm going to go through and just kind of minimize it and find somewhere to store it. Like I said, these rolling carts are all going to be eventually going upstairs as soon as I've got that done. But for sure, I'm going to get this bookshelf here, this bookshelf, and the one that's there. So those three I do want to get upstairs this weekend. So then I can get the games and puzzles all put on the shelves and upstairs where accessible, so we can, my daughter can start making puzzles again. And then yeah, this is just a few odd pieces of bedding on top of some Rubbermaid tote, so it looks like it's quite high. It's not really that high of stuff. So like I said, yeah, I'll be back. I'm just going to move the bedding back into this corner, and then I will be back, and I'm just going to start working my way along here to figure out what is in these boxes and things. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, so this is what I got. So this whole pile here is bedding. I'm gonna say there is about 6 or 7 bags of packed bedding, and then a bunch of just loose stuff was just thrown up on top. I'm gonna stop for right now. So got this nice big area here cleared out. Like I said, I'm gonna get the dressers, or not the dressers, the bookshelves taken upstairs. So I've got a pretty good start. I still have stuff here from when I was cleaning out the pantry. I've got to get out to the garbage. Garbage the other day was full, so I just left everything down here, and I'll take this out for our next garbage day. And so that's what I got right now. My son is home for the weekend, so I'm going to be spending more time with him this weekend, so I'm not going to get too much done. I think I've done a really good start down here in the basement. This is just a pile of loose items that were just already all over the floor. I just kind of pushed it more into the center here. I'm just going to make my way to get this shelf here so we can get that upstairs in the next day or two as well. But I'm going to stop here for today because I got to run my daughter to work. My son is home, so I want to spend some time with him. So I'll be back tomorrow, or maybe later tonight. Yeah, so I've been working hard down here in my basement. As you can see, I finally got all the garbage taken up. It's taken a couple weeks to do this, only because I kept filling the recycling bin and the garbage bin. But that stuff is finally gone. I still have some, let's do this, expired food and empty containers there that need to get taken upstairs into the garbage. Yes, and I'm just going to go to this side. Oops, forgot to turn the lights on. Okay, there we go. So this is under the stairs. So I've got this rack that I've got for my shoes on right now. There is another shoe rack. I think my daughter is kind of figuring out which one works best for her. So I'll be bringing a different shoe rack downstairs. There are the little hooks and things I'm going to be using to hang up my purses and belts. So that should be, getting done in the next day or two by my husband. If I come over here on the walls, I've put the black Sharpie dots where I think they will work. I have the long one up here, and then one of the blue ones here. And then on this wall, I've got there and up there, so I can have my purses hanging up and my shoes and my belts. So that will all be, this corner will be done. In here you can see this is just some of my glass canning jars and some other jars I got to go through. These are all the canisters that I cleared out from, or half of them, that I cleared out from my pantry. I will be washing these and then figuring out which ones I want to keep, because there are some that I like, but there's a lot that I just don't want. So when I get all my canisters, like I said, I've got more in the other room, when I get them all washed, and then I can figure out putting them as a set, and then I'll probably sell them as sets on Kijiji. Then I'll walk over here. This pile here is, it looks like a tall pile, but it's really about 5 or 6 of those bags with bedding, and then just some extra blankets thrown on top, which always makes it look like you've got more stuff than you really do. Then this is just my belts and scarves. So I just got to go through that. But I can actually walk around my basement. I can't quite get to the full table, and I can't quite get to the bookshelves yet, but I've got it so cleared out. I've taken those 2 bookshelves upstairs. And I just got to clear out this stuff so I can get this other shelf here taken upstairs, and then I can get all my puzzles and games upstairs where I want them to go. And again, this big thing in the center looks like a lot of stuff, but again, I've got some totes here with crafting supplies. My purses are just thrown on top of everything. So, you know, if you put 2 Rubbermaid totes up, then you throw purses and hats on top, it's always going to make it look like it's so much more stuff. And then I've got all my baskets and some of my reusable empty bins sitting there that just, again, take up so much more room. And there's also 2 boxes of books over there, which I will be taking upstairs and getting them organized. And yeah, then I got this blue tote here full of toys. I'll be going through that, and I think half of those toys I'm going to be taking to the church nursery. And then this box here is just kitchen stuff. You know, it's kitchen stuff, so that stuff's got to get organized and put in my pantry. Then I have a couple stacks like this, and these are pictures and mirrors that in the next week or 2, I actually want to get all the pictures. So I got a stack here, and I got another stack over close to by the table over there somewhere. Go through that, and I want all my pictures and mirrors actually hung up upstairs. So once my pictures are hung up, I know I'm almost finished going through all this stuff, and my house will be, you know, organized, and I'll be finished. And then same with all these rolling carts here. I do want to get them taken upstairs. That's going to be a couple months away just because of other things I got to get done first. So my rolling carts are just going to stay down here. My crafting supplies are just going to stay down here for now. Yeah. And I got the 2 trunks over there stacked, so it's like, looks quite tall, but it's 2 trunks. They're both full of fabric. And then when you sit things on top of it, then, you know, it just piles up. And then you can see on top of the kitchen table, you can see on top of the table, it stacks of books and papers. And again, it just looks really high, but that stuff I took off the bookshelves to take the shelves upstairs. And then here I've got, this is the insert for the crib, but I've got like a couple empty boxes just sitting here. So if I move the empty boxes out of the way, and then, oops, and a baby bath out of the way, and those car protectors out of the way. Like I said, I'm just kind of going through all this stuff. So if I move those out of the way, you can just see that it's just a few little bins of things. Like I got 2 boxes of candles. I've got another box of glass jars and canning stuff, another box of books. The green tote there, or the green Dollarama bag, looks like crafting supplies. More canning jars, more canning jars. So like I said, it's not going to take me much longer to get through this. And then that other woven basket there, the laundry basket, is more material. And then I can kind of get into this shelf, and I can get all this stuff taken upstairs. Like the games and puzzles will be going upstairs. The paint will be going out to the garage. I don't need to keep the spray paint in the house. And then I've got that bottom shelf has more candles. So I do want to find a place to organize and show off all my candles. But yeah, there's not a lot left. But like I said, I can actually walk through almost my entire basement. So I'm just going to continue organizing, putting stuff away, figuring out what I'm keeping, what I'm, either selling or donating. And yeah, I'll be back as I get more of this, put away and organized. Like I said, I can't wait till I can get to the pictures, and I want all those hung up. So that will be, that's going to be fun. Then I don't know what to do with my baskets and trays. I do not have I love them for storage, but I just don't have the amount of space to store them all. Same with if I go into the room over here, the utility room. You can see I've got the extra coffee maker. I'm still working on that trunk, the train case thing for my daughter. More canning jars. And then I've got the lamps and florals, and then some more glass dishes. So these are the things that I like, but I have to decide, where will they go? Do I have anywhere to store them? Yes or no. If they don't have anywhere to store them, I'm going to have to sell them. And then I've got all these other bins here. These are all my crafting supplies. So I will be then going through each of these bins, and everything's going to be, am I going to use it? Yes or no. Like, I've got a whole bunch of these metal and wood things for making plaques and stuff, and I have to decide, am I doing those type of crafts anymore? Yes or no. So that's like, like a container that looks like this has got so much random stuff in it. I got to go through each little item and decide, keeping yes or no. Oh, there, I see that. That I was looking for that and I couldn't find it. That is another one of the things for, I'm using one upstairs, makeup brushes and other little things. I got it thinking it would work for paint brushes, but some of my paint brushes are just too thin. They just, it just didn't work. So I will take that upstairs because I have some more makeup brushes, and it'll be nice to have them all like out where I can see them. I'm not going to do that tonight, but it's just good to know that I now found where it is. So yeah, that is what I've gotten done. Like I said, when you come down here, you can really tell, like I could not tell for quite a few days. I've been down here and moving things around, getting rid of stuff. Just down here, and it feels like I haven't accomplished anything. And then the other day I'm like, I can get to the table. I am actually getting stuff, dealt with. I've got my closet done. I've got my pantry done. I got my kitchen done, bedroom, living room. Those areas are all organized. So I just really want to finish down here. And then I really got to get the my spare bedroom. It's going to be a crafting, office, and reading area. So I will be back as I get more of this stuff put away. Alright, welcome back. I am still working on my basement. I'm busy doing so many things around here. This week, my husband and I bought some shelves for down here. So we bought 7 of these shelves from Home Depot. They're about $40 each. We've seen the exact same ones at Canadian Tire for $100 each. So it was we thought that was a really good deal. So I'm just going to pan the camera and let you see currently. I've been busy doing so many things. I'm pulling things out. They're just doing other stuff upstairs. I've gone back to school once a week as well. So I've had a lot of homework almost every night doing that type of stuff. So just, haven't really been able to get too much done down here. I said my biggest problem is nowhere to put this stuff as I sort through them, and I'm moving things to different bins. So I've got all this stuff here, and then I have all of these bins here that are all my art supplies, craft supplies, whatever you want to call them. And in the garage, I have all my home decor stuff. So I got all like my florals and vases and lamps. I don't want to get rid of all my stuff. I like my stuff. I just don't have room because there's no storage. So my husband decided that if he bought me these shelves, I'm going to use the shelves and I'll be able to get my stuff into containers. And I want to get them all neatly labeled. So I got to run upstairs and grab scissors because I forgot to bring them down with me. And I'm going to at least set one of these shelving units up. So they look like this. There are 5 shelves. It says it holds up to 750 pounds or 340 kilograms. They are 36 inches wide, 18-inch deep, and 72 inches tall, or 92 centimeters by 46 centimeters by 83.5 centimeters for my Canadian friends. So I'm going, like I said, I'll be right back, and I'm going to set one of these up so I can see what they look like. Okay, so I've got plastic off, so I'm just going to cut this off and make sure all the pieces are here. I have so many of these shelves that I have built over the years, so it's quite easy to do this. I just gotta find the instructions because one of these is the top cat pieces and one of these is the feet. I believe the longer ones are the feet, but I'm just gonna double check that I am correct on that. Yes, I am correct. Like I said, I built these things before, but you never know. Different things, different ones. So these skinnier ones are the top pieces. These other longer ones are the feet. So I gotta get these off of here. So just give me a couple minutes to take this apart and get these pieces kind of lined up a little bit in a little bit easier order for me to be able to assemble. Right, so I've got them ready to assemble. So I got the very move these plastic things out of my way first. Okay, so I got the bottom rack upside down so I can put the feet on. Of course, I just moved and out of the camera. There we go. So just supposed to just slip into place. I may not be able to get these feet all the way where they're supposed to go. If I can't get them all the way in, I can always get my husband to double check that these are in. I mean, if I knew where the rubber mallet was, that would help to put this together. I wouldn't want to use like the metal hammer to get it because it is plastic. Got the legs on. Just flip it over. Just kind of pressing it down from this side also helps to. Oops, that one went in further. That one went in further as well. Right. First shelf is ready with the legs. Next are these. I'm just going to make sure I'm putting these in the right way because there's one side that's skinnier. You know, you kind of look at the top of this tube, how it's, you can see this chunk here is a little bit skinnier than this part here, and this part comes all the way straight through. So I just got to make sure I'm getting these put together right. I'm dropping my microphone. So it says that this skinnier part goes down. So I got that. Now put the shelf on top. Set my camera up here. Oops. Hopefully that will work. I'm just going to continue to build these shelves. And they are plastic. So I have a couple. I ended up dropping my microphone again. So some of the plastic tubes have some of this extra plastic here. I'm just going to take my scissors. I've tried to rip it off. It wasn't ripping off. So I'm just taking my scissors. I'm just kind of trimming some of that little bit of extra plastic off. Yeah, see, some of these have that as well, and it just doesn't want to rip off. Yeah, this one's got it too. So I've got 4 shelves done. I'm going to do the last shelf. So it's the last shelf to get put on top. But before I put it on, I'm going to add the cap pieces here. So they just kind of go right in. Okay, and now I'll just lift this up and put the last shelf in place. And I've got my first out of 7 units built. So I'm just going to continue to build these tonight, and I'll be back hopefully tomorrow as I'm putting boxes back on these shelves to get my basement done. There's that shelf built. I had to go get the step ladder so I could reach above my head to get the final shelf in place. Like I said, there is the first shelf out of 7. Like I said, so I'll be back when I've got them all built and ready to put all these boxes on these shelves. Okay, so welcome back. I don't remember how long it's been since I have filmed myself doing down here in the basement, but I have been working down here slowly. It may not look like it sometimes, but I have cleared out so much stuff out of this basement. My husband bought me a bunch of these shelving units. I've got 4 here that are built. I have 5 more in the garage that we haven't even brought in to build yet because I haven't gotten to that point. But I am slowly clearing all of this stuff out here along the wall so I can move these bins, or I can move the shelving units across the wall, and then I can get my containers to fit on these shelves. Now the top shelves I cannot fit. There's no room between the top shelf and the ceiling for any containers, like not the big ones. There's room for small ones, but what I think I might do is get some more of these bags. Is there somewhere here? Yes, these ones here that I got from the dollar store, they have the seal on them. A lot of these, because we had used them for moving, they have ripped. You know, they got dropped. You know, other people are moving them, and they got little holes in them, so they just cannot be reused for the vacuum sealing. I'm going to say for the quality, for like, about $2 a bag. I think they're worth $2 a bag. And I don't know how the better ones work, if they thicker plastic or anything, but I think it's because we moved that these got more damaged. So I can get some of this bedding and other clothes, like other seasonal clothes, figure out what I have, and get some more of these type of bags, and then those I can fit flat along the top of these shelves. I know I can also fit some of those like shoebox size bins up there to put some smaller things up there as well. Or I can even take some of my large florals and lay them across the top of that shelf. I've done that before at my other place. So then for sure I have 4 shelves per unit where I can fit 2, I'm fairly sure 2 Rubbermaid bins fit side by side, or some of the smaller ones. Some of my large ones, it may only be one straight across. If it's going to be the one straight across, I'll put them on the bottom. But I think I can fit, so 1, 2, 3, 4, so 8. I should be able to fit 8 bins on each shelf. So like I said, this looks like a huge pile. It is mostly just blankets. And then there's a couple boxes. And again, if you look at the size of this box, and if I were to throw a couple blankets on top, it's going to make it look so much higher. I know that from the way I've been moving everything around. I know what's under here. There's not really anything left, really. Maybe a few odd loose things on the floor, but mostly it's piles of blankets and some clothing that I still have to go through, even though I've gone through so much and I got rid of so much stuff. The other areas of my house, I see like a stack of jeans over there. I think those are the ones that either don't fit or they need to be repaired. So I think I'm going to keep them for sewing projects. Things like that can go, store, on the shelves up high. But I'm just going to go in here. These bins here, they can probably fit, like 2 across on each of those shelves. And then what I'm going to do is go through these bins and just organize. Each bin's going to have the same item in it. So I've got this has got metal and wooden plaques. So I can do one for wooden plaques, one for metal plaques. This has got styrofoam balls. It also has my floral foam. So I'd like to separate those into 2 categories. And then same with this. This is just a box of mix of various art and art stuff and toys. And like I said, I'm going to go through all this stuff one item at a time, and it's going to be a final decision, keep or get rid of. And there's just a lot of stuff, and it's just still going to take me quite a while to go through all these bins. But down here, all I have left to go through, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14. I only have 14 bins left down here in the basement to go through. That one's empty. And so, there's not really much left to go through. Now I do have these larger planters or vases and lamps that just don't fit in this house. So I'm going to go through those and decide, probably this summer, do a garage sale. Sorry, I'm maxed out for recording, but I'm just going to continue down here, and I will be back tomorrow when I'll come back down tomorrow, and I want to finish clearing out that and get these shelving units lined up along the wall. So I'll be back when I get that done. Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm just going to say I don't remember the last day that I was down in my basement filming, cleaning. I've been doing so many other things since Christmas, but I just told my husband my goal was to have my basement done before the end of January. Today is now February 1st, and I have not been down to the basement since before Christmas. So I'm just going to pan through this and just say, it looks kind of bad right now, but I was also digging out Christmas decor. And when I did my little closet, I also took some of the rolling cart units out. And then undecorating from Christmas, everything just kind of got thrown back down here. So this is what my basement looks like. So I have the 4 of these shelves built. I do want to get them line up along that wall there. So my goal right now is just to clear this area out here. So I'm going to take all the bedding and I'm just going to put all the bedding in the pantry. I don't want to do that, but I'm just going to move all the bedding into the pantry. And that's going to clear up. And then I've got some stuff, those 2 trunks over there, I'm taking upstairs to the spare bedroom because those are both full of sewing, so material and other sewing items. I have in that far corner under the lampshade, I have another woven basket, has a lid on it, and that also has more material for sewing, so I want to take those upstairs. And then I have a few more of those rolling carts along that wall. You kind of can't see them at the moment. I can't even get any closer at the moment either, so I do want to take those upstairs today. Just want to get all my major art and craft supplies upstairs, and then I can get these black shelves along the wall. But before I do that, I gotta deal with all this stuff that is here on the floor because I was dumping things out and sorting through, and then I realized this is not gonna work. Dumping containers out is not gonna help me organize and clean. So I brought a few bins in from the garage. I'm going to start putting any loose items on the floor into those bins. So that is what I'm going to work with right now. So I will be back as I get this main area here kind of cleared out, decluttered, kind of throwing everything back into containers. And then I have a new system or new way that I want to organize my different types of crafting, art supplies, bakeware, stuff like that. I've got a few different ways. Got a new system I want to try. And so that is what I'm going to work on next. But first, I just have to clear this out so I've got room to work with. And then I do have these bookshelves over here. That little open shelved one, I think I'm going to actually take that upstairs, and I might even put it in the living room. I know I've got some other benches and stuff up, or the other table upstairs, but I'm going to measure and see if I can use that one upstairs in my living room. The blue shelf, I'm actually going to use that. It's going to stay down here in this corner. I'm going to put all games and puzzles on that one. The games and puzzles used to be on the little brown one, but I think they'll work so much better on the blue one. And then I've got that other shelf in that corner over there. I'm going to move it over here, and again, it's just going to be extra items. As for all my crafting books, sewing books, I actually want to take all those upstairs so I have access to them, because when they're down here and I'm not crafting down here, I actually want to make upstairs my craft room. And then I'm not sure what to do with that table. I still need it, but I don't have room for the table upstairs. So I might just end up turning this into like a game room, or depending on what type of crafting I'm doing, I might just start doing some of the crafts down here. So I don't have a table upstairs. I just have the little desk. So like I said, I'm not quite there, just trying to figure things out for now. So like I said, I'm just going to start by putting all the bedding into the pantry and all the loose items into bins, and then I will be back. This is what about 10-15 minutes of progress really can look like. I can actually walk through here. I can almost make it to the wall. Just a few minor things in the way here, but just by taking all the bedding, because this was all piled up with bedding, just getting that stuff out of my way, and with my purses. So I will show my closet. I worked so hard to clean up my closet, but I just threw all my purses and reusable bags and stuff in there. I also have a laundry basket in there that's kind of not letting me push everything further in. And then this is my pantry. I just threw all the bedding in here, which again, like show you how high. So this is that shelf there. So the bedding is about as high as that shelf. Now, I do have a couple of bins right there for the pet food, and I have a couple of yoga balls under here as well. So it's not like it's that much stuff. It does make my pantry look bad. I do need to organize my pantry since Christmas. I do know that. That's what it looks like after all my 12 days of Christmas baking. Just hasn't been, hasn't been organized since before Christmas. So I will be getting to this hopefully next week. That is my plan, is to spend this week doing this part of the basement, next week finishing up the pantry. I've already done my closet. I do have the marks on the wall for where my husband can hang up the hooks for me. They weren't done yet because well, first he took the drill to work because he needed it at work. And then I also decided if I don't have, wasn't quite ready to do that, hanging up my purses and belts, because I do want to go through them one more time to officially know how many belts and how many purses I'm actually keeping. So then trying to figure out the rest of this basement laid out, I'm like, I can't get him to hang those up until I'm actually finished with this chunk of the basement. Like I said, so 10, maybe close to 15 minutes has made a huge difference down here. So I'm just going to continue working and moving this stuff. Except if it's purses and belts, they're going in my closet. The bedding I'm putting in the pantry, and then just other items. I just have some of those bins. I have some boxes. I was just putting the loose items in the bins and boxes, and then I will go through them at a later date. I also didn't touch the shelves. I mean, there's bedding and stuff on these shelves. I will remove the stuff when I'm ready to actually move the shelves in place. Also, any books that I've been finding or odd little things, I've been placing on those shelves for now. So I'm just going to continue moving this stuff out of my way, and hopefully by the end of the week I will have my basement finished. So it's been about another half hour. As you can see, I can actually walk all the way to the wall under the window. This stuff here I wasn't putting in bins. This stuff was already in containers. I was just sliding everything over for now. So I'm going to find a place to put this stuff, but I'm going to take all these little plastic container things, I don't know what they're called, like little drawers, little mini drawers. I'm going to take those upstairs, not right now, just by moving all these other bins. I'm kind of out of breath. I'm going to go take a little break now, but I do want to, before I take a break, get these bins kind of moved and these shelves and the rolling carts out of here, and then get the blacked shelving units against this wall. So yeah, it's coming along. Oh, not bad for, like half an hour, so maybe like 45, 50 minutes, whatever it's been since I've been down here. Hasn't taken me too long. I have not come across any more bedding. I did have a few more purses or some laptop bags, but no more other actual bedding in here, which is good. Just got all my bins of material. This loose stuff here I dumped out when I grabbed those other rolling carts to put them in my closet. So I'm just going to pick this stuff up. Like I said, get these rolling carts and that bookshelf out of there. Get these black ones lined up against the wall. And then take a quick break. So I will be back shortly. Right, so I am going to go take a break shortly. I've got all the racks pushed against this wall here, and I realize my camera is angled downwards. Okay, so I do have a gap between here and here. I don't think another one's going to fit right across. I moved the units over with full of stuff, so I can't quite tell if that's what's blocking it from going flush against the wall or if it's the baseboards. Because sometimes, the baseboards, might only be so thick from the top, but ours are very decorative, so they do kind of come out further than you expect when you're trying to, you know, made that problem before. The other house, we had a really thick baseboard, so I would measure the wall from like wall to wall, and then I can't figure out why I'm short. Like, how would I mess up by like, you know, an inch or something? And then I realized, oh, I have to measure from the thickest part of the baseboard to the thickest part of the baseboard. So I'm thinking that's probably what I did here, was I was not thinking about the thickness of the baseboards here. So we have 3 more of these black shelving units, brand new, still in the garage. I just don't feel like bringing them in. But I was at my sister's house earlier this week, and we kind of traded some stuff. So she gave me another one of these black shelving units, and I gave her a set of nesting trays. That's what they are, nesting trays that I had. So yeah, the trays don't work at my house. This storage shelving unit didn't work in hers, so we kind of traded some stuff. So I'm going to show you how to build these, because they are very easy to build, but sometimes people don't buy things because you have to build them. Now, I don't really have a lot of room to work with. I think I'm just gonna have to, yeah, I'm gonna move some of these things out of my way. Okay, not sure if I can get this other thing out of my way. There, that gave me so much more room to try to put these together. I can't move these carts because they're just, you know, so far. I've got stuff piled up. Okay, so I'm going to move these area carpets as well. I can move this. So these, because it's been built, they already have the feet on them, so I don't have to worry about that. So I know which is the bottom. They also curve out in the front, and they're flat in the back, so I know which is the front and which is the back. And then in this bag, it should be all the poles. It would help if I got them lined up correctly. So each shelf gets 4 poles. All the shelves were standing against the wall behind me. I just knocked them all over. Then you just kind of, yeah, this one's got this chunk out of it. I will do that last because that's going to take me a few minutes to get that out. So I will put that shelf on the top. Then you just line up the shelves here. It was so much faster when my daughter was helping me, because I did one side, she did one side. And we can just make sure that the shelf clips into place. The next poles. Next shelf. Again, making sure that the curve is facing you. And finally, the last shelf. So I will let her know I have all the poles. That was the other thing, was she wasn't sure if all the poles would be here. She said she was fairly sure. And so I told her I will build this as soon as possible, and I let her know if I'm missing any poles. Not missing any poles. So now I can put the last shelf on here. This is also where it's handy to have somebody taller than you to put this last shelf up. It is just going to reach above my head and line everything up. And then when you press down on the very top shelf, every other shelf below it should collapse and be more secure. So now I have 5 of these black shelves built down here. I've got 3 more brand new ones in the garage, which I'm going to leave them in the garage until I know for sure I need them or not. I'm just trying to figure out, I don't think, see, I cannot fit 5 across here. Even if I did think I could get a little bit of space, I'm looking at how much that is overlapped. So I'm going to push it this way. I don't really like the way that looks, so I'm just going to pull this one forward. Does not want to move. So in this little corner, I'm going to have this little space here. I might just, end up figuring out where I want the space. So I'm just trying to decide if I go like this and then pull this shelf down so it touches there and then bring everything down this way. I think that's how I like it. That's how I had it at the other house in my storage room. Then I would end up with a little corner that I usually found worked really good for putting like know what I'm trying to say. The vase for all my tall florals, that's what I used to do. They would just sit there and then all my tall florals could just stand up there and be, not get wrecked. So I'll probably end up doing that, moving all this stuff down this way. And then at the very end, I've got another little shelving unit that will fit over in that corner if I need to. So for now, I'm just going to leave this flush against that wall like that. So I have this little way they look right now. I'm going to leave it this way. I'm going to show you what the basement looks like now. So I can't really get up the stairs. That's okay. I will move all that stuff in a moment, but it still looks pretty bad. But at the same time, it is progress. I've been down here, is it a little over an hour now. Still all this loose stuff I'm going to just put into bins and sort another day, kind of a thing. I just need to get this like a functional, working, usable space. And obviously when everything is dumped out and you can't even get to the table, it's not usable. So like I said, I'm going to take a little break. I'll be back. If I'm not back later today, because it's already, let's see, time. Yeah, it's already like 3 o'clock. So if I'm not back down in a little bit, then I'll be back first thing tomorrow morning. I'm going to end here tonight. I've done a lot of work. Got all the shelves lined up. Ready to put the containers on these shelves. I'm just going to start with the ones that I have in the other room. And I'm just going to put them on these shelves. I'm not going to be going through any more stuff. So yeah, I'm just going to end here. So this is what it looks like. And I've got this big pile of stuff here, which looks bad, but I know that's just, you know, stuff on top of stuff. It always makes it look so much worse. But I think that's a really good start for today. So like I said, I will be back tomorrow to, so I'm going to start with this pile of stuff tomorrow, so I'll be back. It is now Wednesday afternoon. I was able to get all those shelves along there the other day, and what I discovered is some of my colored bins will fit on those shelves. These clear ones are actually too high and they won't fit, but these colored ones are the right height to fit, but I can't do double on the shelves. You can just see like the one almost takes up the whole shelf. So I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna arrange my stuff. I had figured that if I put 2 on each shelf, then I could get all my stuff put up. Now I can only get 1 bin per shelf. I do have some other smaller bins, so I'm gonna have to, you know, play around with the bins that are on the shelves. I've got all this stuff still here to kind of go through. I also discovered I do have enough space actually between the top of the shelf and the ceiling that I do have some bins that will fit up there. I was worried that there is no room between the top shelf and the ceiling to get bins up on the top shelf, but there is. And then I'm just gonna say I have all these bins out here. All this stuff just here still. So it's kind of looks still cluttered, but I did clear out this other area. So I will go in here. This is what I was working on. I actually got this room here all cleared out. So I can actually walk in here and get into using my laundry sink. I don't know why the electrical box is open, but okay. My mop usually hangs here. It's upstairs. I've got some pantry items that had to get thrown out. They just got missed. I put them on this shelf to throw them out, and then I couldn't get over here. So I've got a few other things up on the shelf that I have to deal with. Otherwise, this stuff in here is like my husband's stuff. So like I said, so I've been working hard down here. So this room is cleared out, which is actually, you know, amazing because it used to be so full of all those bins, which is why they're kind of sitting there. I thought I could just get them put on the shelves and out of my way, but now I'm going to have to go and put them in different bins, but that's fine. I am, like I said, I'm going through everything item by item, and every item is a keep yes or no. The only exception to that is if it is not my if it's not mine. If it belongs to my husband or one of my kids, then I'm actually separating the stuff out. So I'm going to put 5 bins to the side because I will find my husband's tools mixed in here. My kids have toys and things and papers and stuff, whatever is in this that belongs to them. So I will be setting aside 5 bins, one for my husband, one for each of my kids. While I go through all the rest of the stuff, anything that is mine, it's a keep yes or no. I don't want to have a maybe pile or a someday pile anymore. I just want to go through this stuff last time, and that's it. I'm liking the way the rest of my house looks. Like my bedroom is cleared out to exactly what we need. The kitchen upstairs, that's a little tricky. I love baking, so I've got extra items, but I got my pantry down here. But as my art and craft supplies, I have to go through and decide, are these crafts that I'm actually going to do? Like I've got this tub here is yarn. I've got a couple more tubs of yarn in the garage, and I'm going to be honest, I don't knit. I don't crochet. So I'm going to go through this. That's going to be easy. My daughter wants to go through this stuff because her friend was teaching her how to crochet. So there is a few crochet yarn in here that she wants. I do have a couple that I have for other crafts that I was working on, but otherwise I'm just gonna go through and like, do I use it? Yes or no? And that is it. Same with, like I said, most of this stuff you can just see it's just random art supplies and other things, and just so it's just a long process of going through each bin one item at a time. But when I get it done, everything's gonna, my house is gonna look good. I'm getting rid of so much stuff. Like I said, I just was busy for the last few days, not filming, but still working on all this stuff. So I will be back as I get more of this stuff put away, figure out what I'm keeping and what I'm not keeping. So I'm still working on my basement. It's been a project on and off for the last quite a few months. I've been just moving things around, going through stuff. Got all this stuff here piled up. The Christmas tree is under here. Christmas decorations, I'm taking them out to the shed. My clean laundry, I've got a couple laundry baskets with my clean laundry. I don't know, whatever. There's some glass. You can see I got jars of glass candles, canning jars, things like that are also in these boxes here. Makes it always look really bad when you throw clothes on top of boxes. It makes it look so much higher, but that's going to be gone by tomorrow. This should be all finished clearing out. I do have a couple boxes I'm trying to get taken upstairs. I couldn't do it the other day. Just couldn't take everything upstairs. Sorry, I'm out of breath. So as you can see, I can see the floor over here. That bag is garbage. Some garbage on the floor. I'm trying to get all these bins on the shelves. So the clear bins do not fit on the shelves. These colored ones do. So I was transferring everything from the clear bins into these bins, and now I just have to get over here, move these things out of my way. I'm just going to push them this way. Got to get this bookshelf out of that corner there, and then I can get these bins on the shelves. That is what I want to get done today. And like I said, the rest of this stuff is just going to stay like this. I'm just going to push all this stuff against over there, kind of not against the wall because the heat exchange is there, but just continue moving everything here, getting these bins on these shelves. This odd stuff that are on these shelves I'm going to put in the clear bins. That's all my pictures. Can't wait till I can actually hang up my pictures as my goal. Probably June. I've got 2 more months left of schooling. And so, yeah, once my schooling is done, I told my husband I can just then concentrate just on the basement and finish all the boxes that are left in the garage to deal with. There's not many anymore. Then slowly, that's where some of this stuff is. These are bins that I just brought in from the garage about 2-ish weeks ago. Some of the stuff I've already gone through, taken lots of excess stuff to the thrift stores, things like that. There's lots of stuff. It's too cold to put anything on my driveway, so I've got boxes in my garage waiting for a warm day, and that stuff can be put out on my driveway for people just to come and take. So this is what it looks like. I know it's still quite, just it's a lot of stuff, and it's like, I know I've been going through this stuff and getting rid of stuff, but I feel like the more stuff I get rid of, the more stuff that just appears. I know it's not, but that is how it is feeling. So yeah, I'm just gonna get this stuff moved out, get all these bins on these shelves, and I will be back to show you what it looks like. Okay, so the center part here, doesn't look like I've done too much, but when I pan over here, you can see that I've got all those bins on these shelves. The shelves were kind of tipping, and I was finding it hard by myself to put the bins on these shelves, so I'm going to need my husband to help me. The shelving units me and my daughter built, and so I'm going to say the top couple shelves are a little crooked. I mean, all you have to do is just push this down more into here, just push the shelf down and push these down more. Some of them aren't quite evenly pressed down. Me and my daughter, we did our best making these up. And so because of that, the shelves were a little crooked. At one point I thought the one shelf was going to completely fall on me, especially trying to lift the red one up onto like almost the highest shelf there. That was a little tricky. And even getting the green tub up was tricky because of the table. It was just really hard to at that angle. And so you can tell that these shelves, or these bins here, you can see like this one is completely on properly, but you can see those ones as they were going like higher up, they're not fully straight on the shelves. They're kind of down, they're kind of over the shelf a bit. So like I said, I got to grab the step ladder, which I have here. I'm going to get my runners on too, just so I got like a little bit more stable than just bare feet on the step ladder. And to see if I can kind of get them to be a little straighter. But I think I've made real progress today. And like I said, in between this side and this side, there are about 6 or 7 boxes that I have to take upstairs to my craft room, not counting the couple of, this basket here is material, and then I got the 2 trunks there. So those 2 trunks I want to get taken upstairs as well. Just not going to do that today. I'll probably do that first thing in the morning when I've got more energy. And then just for right now, just to get it out of my way, I just slid this bookshelf in between the shelving units. It just kind of gets it out of my way, so I was able to get the other bins on the shelves. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff here I still have to go through, but I don't have too many more bins in the garage. I got to run to go get my daughter from work. So when I'm out there, I will see how many more bins I have left in the garage to deal with. And then that's it. I am done. I will be, like I said, my course is 2 more months. So by June, I will be fully finished unpacked. I mean, as unpacked as I can be, because each of these bins is going to be like a day on its own, dumping out and sorting everything. I just don't want to do that. And then I will say I do have the clear bins here. So you can kind of see the bottom one is wooden and metal signs. This one's a mix of metal, and I've got some glassware in there as well. And then this top one here is just kitchen stuff. So I figure these clear ones actually fit in my pantry. So I figure I can keep my wooden signs and plaques and stuff. Some of the glass stuff I can keep in these clear bins. I don't know exactly what's in them. And same with the kitchen stuff. Like I've got just a mix of things like different chocolate molds, candy molds, icing, tips, things like that. If they're in the clear bins, I can tell exactly which bin I need for what I'm going to be making. And then I've got so many boxes that have molds in them. These are for a mix of chocolate and soap and candle making. All my mold trays, whatever, they're just kind of all packed together. Make it easy when I was packing to move. So I will be back tomorrow, and hopefully tomorrow's Friday, so Friday, Saturday, and I will be done down here. So I'll be back tomorrow morning. Okay, so I'm just standing in my garage and just show this one little section over here of all these bins. I just did a quick count. Just kind of get in here, you can just kind of see. So there's about 33 bins. So this far one has 5 bins, and the next one has 4, and 3, 4, 3, 4, 4, and 4. So it's about 33 bins here. that's all the stuff I have left to sort through and go through. And of course I'm standing right below the furnace as it kicks in the garage. And then up here on the top shelf, though, those eBay boxes, there's, well, I'm not quite sure how many there are up there, but all those eBay boxes are all just board games and puzzles. And then everything else is the toys and other items from my day home. So I don't have that much stuff left to go through. The garage here, this side is mostly cleared out. I got 3 more shelving units I'm going to be bringing in probably later today or tomorrow. I'm not quite sure how much time I've got. Then I do have, if you don't count like the pet food and laundry stuff and litter, these 2 boxes here are mostly donation stuff, which when the weather gets better, I will go through these and I'll put everything out on my driveway for free. And then I have my other little green machine that's missing a piece. Then we got those other boxes there. I don't know, that's my husband's stuff, so I don't know what he's got in there. If that might be garbage items, I'm not quite sure. And then we've got this green rack here, and everything that's on this green rack is our potential yard sale items. And yeah, and those 2 buckets of Lego I'm taking back to the church nursery. I brought them home to wash them and go through because I found broken Lego. Or actually my daughter did one Sunday. And we brought them home and we just have not had a chance to go through them yet. So that's what these are sitting here. As soon as I get through them, they're going back to the church. And that's all those little kitchen gadgets and things that I've got that I'm going to start listing on eBay. I got to wipe them all down again because they've been in the garage for too long. There are a couple items in here that my daughter now wants. So I told her, I said, when I get the chance, I will go through these. She wants the sandwich maker, the waffle iron, and my little mini hand mixer. It's this hand mixer one right here. I think this one doesn't work. This other submersion blender, I think that's the one that doesn't work. And yeah, I told her, I said, if I hadn't sold them already, I would give them to her. So, yeah, see, now it turns off. So, like I said, most of that stuff I am going to be listing on Kijiji for sale, like about 10 bucks each. And anything else there is, garage sale items, things we just don't need anymore. Or just for free, just depending on what it is. So like I said, there's not a lot left here in the garage. And then we've got all the big pictures from our other house because we had high ceilings. And we're going to go through all the pictures and see what will work here and if we can sell them. So there's a lot of pictures I still would love to keep and hang in this house. I just don't know if they're going to work. And then those boxes there are all my husband's stuff. So we do want to get, I said, and I think this exercise equipment, I think he's getting the leg press, he's going to sell. And then there's this stuff up here that, I still have to go through as well. So not a lot left in the garage to really deal with. There is, like I said, we got these overhead shelving units, and, there is stuff on each one of them. And a lot of this stuff will be going for yard sales this summer. Like I said, but once I get cleared up the basement a little more, I'm going to start bringing these bins in and start putting them on the shelves as well. So I'll be back when I get the basement done a little more. So I've got empty reusable shopping bags here. Mostly along here is empty bins. I do have the one bin of material that I just need out of my way. Those bins there are all empty. This little basket has crafting supplies that I'll probably be using right away. And then I've got all the Christmas decor stuff just right there. This stuff here in the center, it's just a mix of so much stuff. But here's the little space to get into the pantry and the closet. So I got all this cleared out. These are just my glass canisters and canning jars that I am probably not going to keep. I'm going to go through them and see which ones I probably am going to keep and use, like those two water cup bottles, whatever. I have to take those upstairs. You know, the one is a Starbucks, so they kind of got mixed up with stuff down here, so those will be going upstairs. And then over here I just have the 2 shoe racks with my shoes, and then I got 2 small boxes kind of tucked in here with some of my candles. Yeah, so like I said, there's only 33 bins in the garage to deal with. I don't feel like doing anything else down here. My basement is, you know, pretty workable, usable at the moment. I'm going to end here and say this is part 1. It's been quite a few months of on and off just being down here, going through stuff, getting rid of stuff. We're at the end of March. The class I'm doing, it's done in like 2 months, but we only have 7 more class days in the next 2 months. So I told my husband when my class was done, I can concentrate my full attention to getting the rest of this basement done and the garage. Some of the stuff I was going to take upstairs to the crafting room, or I want to make my crafting room, but last night I discovered my daughter has been rearranging her room, so she brought a whole bunch of her furniture into the spare room, so I'm not able to bring this stuff up right now. So I think that's it for now. Like I said, it's been several months on and off down here, dumping things out, going through, getting rid of, really deciding what I need to keep and what I need to get rid of. Craft supplies is a tricky one. It's like, how do I know which ones to get rid of if I don't know what I have? Same with the kitchen gadgets. I have so many duplicates that once I get it all organized, like all the kitchen stuff in one spot and the crafting stuff in one spot, I can go through and make a final decision of any duplicates. Right now, if I'm going through the arts crafting supplies, anything that I bought specifically for my day home, which would be for any kids, you know, under the age of like grade 2 and just learning how to draw and stuff. So you're looking at like ages like 1 to maybe about 6, 7. Maybe I had a couple 8, 9-year-olds just because, you know, PD days and things, or, you know, school, you know, summer, Christmas, things like that. So I did have some other art supplies for bigger kids, which I can use. But anything that's targeted for little kids, I'm just going to get rid of. It made it so much easier, so much faster to go through packs of paper if it's not like an adult quality paper. Say with pencils, markers, things like that. If they're not adult quality, they're just for beginner kid stuff, then I can let them go easier. So again, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who subscribes to my channels and watches my videos, and I will see you in the next ones. Bye.